Hello there, welcome to round one. Theros block constructed. I know it's a little bit new, so let's have some fun. I'm kind of just recorded, rather just decided to record this, so uh, the way I talk about things might be a little bit different given that I haven't yet done the deck tech, if you will. Um, so I'm going to be recording that after the fact. So if there is, but posting them in the order of deck tech first, then the rounds. This is round one, game one, and I'm going to be playing accordingly, but posting as if I did the deck tech first. So I do apologize in advance if there are any. I guess for the way you see it, it's not in advance. I don't know, weird. If there's any redundancies, but I'm playing mono black in Theros block constructed, and yes, I would like to play first. All right. So, I mean, I've got 2 drop, 3 drop removal spell, and if I draw a land, I can bestow this onto one of my dudes. That's fine. This card is pretty much an all-star. I know deck's only playing 3. I could go up one more, but where I decide to shave, I'm not entirely sure. I really do like Painseer, because more often than not, if I am able to play it on turn 2, in the world of Magma Jet Lightning Strike, it's often spot killed, but if I do get to untap with it, rather have him untap, I'm gonna assume it's a him once or twice, then life is more than pretty good. The drawback isn't even really a drawback, and with no ways to really draw cards, I just start burying my opponent. It is pretty sweet. And I mean, playing what I have in the 4 drop slot, I've got 2 guild, 4, and then the 5 drops, I've got great merchants. So more often than not, I'm flipping 3 drop. But at that point, bestow it onto here, and then I just run away with the game. Um, I'm not playing obviously the 1 drop tormented hero version because I feel like that deck can just get shut down far too easily uh, by the other decks in the format. Whereas this one has a little bit more late game with the gray merchants and all. Then again, if someone else gets to a slightly faster start, then I guess I'm screwed. I have had a little bit of trouble with the. I'm gonna play the swamp that's off, not off color, off art, just in case there's a Thoughtseize. Speaking of Thoughtseize, is super awesome. All right, incoming Thoughtseize. Yeah, that's fine. Takes pains here. I guess depending on his hand composition, I would take Painseer here. He probably does have a removal spell. Rybex, he or she, my opponent, probably has a removal spell. Not a fan of the art on this land. Yep, Painseer. Good choice. Very good choice. Boom. I'm going to draw Thoughtseize here and be like, oh well, late to the party. But I forgot what I was saying. The trouble that I've had with, yeah, here we go. Sure, I'll run my opponent out of resources. That's fine. I don't mind playing my threats because I'm also of the deck variety that plays the 4 full play set of the Night Howlers. So running my threats out like this, eventually I do draw a Night Howler and does put them out of range. I mean, out of range of Bile Blight, Freakus Cure. Obviously not Hero's Downfall, so that's what I want to see. Kill my early drops. I guess it doesn't always happen, but getting this guy out sooner rather than later and being able to apply some level of pressure is, especially in the mirror, what you just have to do it. I've played against it like a super controlling version of this type of deck, the quote unquote mono black. It was kind of splashing blue for uh, like Voyage and Griptide type things, and all it was just Haymaker. Well, no, it wasn't really splashing blue. It was blue black. All of the threats were black, and then it was blue was for Voyage and Griptide and dissolve and then Gainsay and stuff in the sideboard. It was just an annoying deck to play against, but eventually I was able to just run them out of resources. And similarly in this deck, if I can get a couple hits in, and we'll see if this is the pains here. Yeah, that dies on the spot. Thoughtseize would be a sweet draw here, because then I can Thoughtseize and Bile Blight. Guild is actually not too bad. The unfortunate thing here is I can Bile Blight. No, this is actually pretty good. I Bile Blight. Next turn I have Guild. Yep. I guess I no, because if I would have Bile Blot, I don't know if that's the right term. If I would have used Bile Blight on opponent's turn after attacks happen, then I'm not able to attack with my Spiteful returned. But here, opponent plays 3 drop. I can Guild it. Sure, removal spell maybe. That's fine. Yeah, that's gonna get a Guild. Sweet. Yeah, it definitely gets gilded, especially because I'm still putting pressure on my opponent. And then next turn, if opponent leaves up mana, or well, if my opponent decides to play something that doesn't leave up mana, my opponent knows that I have. It might have been silly of me to play this swamp rather than this swamp because this is the one I drew, whereas this one my opponent knew about. So if my opponent was paying close attention to art, which is something that I like to do. I don't have. I just kind of a couple days ago, maybe a week ago, um, a week from when I've been playing. By the time this video is posted, it'll be have maybe been a little bit longer than a week. Um, I just decided to throw it together randomly. I had most of the cards already that I was thinking about. I mean, I was down in Erebos, but I just decided to play with one instead of two in the board. Um, Things of that nature, so I just threw it together, and just I wasn't gonna go out and get all matching swamps, so I just resigned myself to kind of play a little bit smarter in the face of Thoughtseizes. And Thoughtseize is actually awesome. The card is so good. Uh, it feels incredibly awesome in block. Just there's been so many hands that I've just destroyed. Like I've won the game with a turn one Thoughtseize. Um, might sound like I'm overstating it a bit, but literally I've won the game with a turn one Thoughtseize. Like have had those. I mean, of course it on some level has to do with an opponent's probably greedy keep. Yeah, Thoughtseize. Okay, that's fine. It would be terrible if this was followed up with a Bile Blight. Nope. Well, it's going to be. Alright, well, my opponent ran me out of resources first. This is sweet if I get to go to attacks. Nope. Come on, Hero's Downfall. That's what I want to see. Hero's Downfall. Bile Blight. Sure. And keep the card in hand, because there's no reason for me not to. But this is an okay spot for me to be in. My opponents were at essentially the same spot in the game. I am ever so slightly. Actually, I won't necessarily say I'm ahead. Obviously, life totals, there's a fair discrepancy there, but my opponent's ripping lands and probably just got 2 removal spells in hand. Which, hey, I guess that happens. 5, Grey Merchant. Maybe I'll get my 2. I mean, I gotta run them out there. Ooh, 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 ooh. Hmm. My opponent let that resolve. Interesting. I can't foresee a situation where I would necessarily need to play Nykthos here. I wonder what's in hand. Not removal spells. Is my opponent just on lands? I really don't know here. Guild? Hero's Downfall? Agent of the Fates. Unless my opponent was just sandbagging for that kind of thing. Oof, swamp. Well, I gotta go in for the beats. Because if my opponent decides, any sort of bestow shenanigans here, any way to target the agent, rather, I'm gonna die, so I might as well go in for the attack. And best case scenario, my opponent blocks. That would be sweet too. I'm not even mad. Sure, any type of bestow happens. I have to sacrifice the merchant. Oh, this is awesome for me. I'm gonna put my opponent on probably the similar configuration to my deck. less of the super aggressive, unless we just didn't see that start with the Ordeal of Erebos, Tormented Hero variety, and more of the, oh, my opponent just lands in hand, and more of the just grinding grind. Safe to play Nykthos here. One, two, three, four. Cast with Bestow. Let's see if it happens. Can we get there? Removal spell? That's fine with me. It's how big? Wait. Sure. That's fine. Why? Why would you do that? Oh, I guess it puts you at dead otherwise? Hmm. Interesting. Okay. I mean, it got me to get rid of my Gray Merchant. I guess I should have probably bestowed there, or attempted to bestow, because it would have put my opponent at dead. Yeah, that was kind of silly. But regardless, here now my opponent has two threats that to deal with. Yeah, that was really silly of me. That was short-sighted on my part. But interesting. I don't like main decking the Farika's Cure because Bioblight does the job and does the job better. The two life that I'm going to be gaining off of it is largely irrelevant. Certainly, and we'll go into sideboard here. Certainly, the metagame is such that mono black is part of it, and it's a big enough part of it. There's also the big decks. There's mono green, or pardon me, mono green, mono black. The two kind of varieties, the more reach type version that I'm playing, and the quicker, maybe more one drops tormented hero variety. There's the monsters, Naya monsters type thing, playing Elspeth. There's red green just monsters, but if you're going to play that, you often go with the Elspeth as well. There's red, white, black, which this deck often has a little bit more trouble with because they have the guilds, the heroes' downfalls, and they lose out on like Pelucranos and such. But I have ways to deal with that. They still get the Stormbreath Dragon, Elspeth, and then like they have Thoughtseize, which is Thoughtseize is just a beating. Um, Here, the way I like to sideboard is bring in all of the Dark Betrayals. Obviously, I actually like Freakus Cure a little bit less um, in the matchup. I have the Mogus Marauders, obviously not for here. Erebos I like because decks often bring in um, Whip. I have since removed them because I find them less useful. Plus, they're just big, expensive things that once again, I find end up being less useful. Guilds can come out because they're really just expensive versions of Dark Betrayal. Here, granted, I can play something else off of them, and I guess turn 4, it's really sweet when I don't draw a land for turn 5. But hey, tis happens sometimes. I My go-to kind of cuts are often in the mirror here, or just in general. I cut a Night Howler and a Painseer because I have stronger things that I can be doing. But in this matchup, because I'm bringing in 4 of the Dark Betrayals, I cut 2 Heroes Downfalls, which may seem weird considering it hits everything, but Dark Betrayal does, and it's a lot cheaper, as does Bile Blight. Bile Blight kills next to everything, with the exception of Grey Merchants, or I guess maybe even Bestowed things, but I tend to leave a Bile Blight in response. I still do take out a Night Howler and a Painseer, because everything else is so much better. I guess Night Howler is good for Devotion for Erebos, but once again, bringing in the extra removal, I tend to be able to grind things out a little bit more. And I still end up with the same amount of removal, just cheaper and more efficient against the matchup. So, game 2. Alright, here we are back with game 2 of match 1. These double Nykthos draws are always really annoying. I've had a hand where I drew all 3 Nykthoses and it was rough. Not playing the full 4 because I really only want to draw one, but I would like to draw one because more often than not I'm able to kind of get there. And oftentimes it is just more. I can generate an extra mana. I may end up shaving ones, but there's been it's been good enough where I like keeping them in the build, and I don't run into problems. The benefits outweigh the costs generally. Yes, sometimes I get this weird Nykthos draw where I might not be able to play two spells a turn because of this, but more often than not, I'm generating extra mana from them. This hand weak to a turn one. Ooh, ooh, hoo, hoo. My opponent put me. Whoa, okay. My opponent put me on the play. Interesting. Okay. Well, I don't have a removal spell for this. Yeah, so we've got 5 lands returned. That's fine. I'll be ahead in that race. Oh, awkward. Like I said, I get those unfortunate draws. And I'm going to be able to attack first into my thing. Yep, Spirited Returned. Boom. I guess I could have paid attention to my opponent's lands, but I think I'm not all too bad. Yep, well, just go for the beats. Blocks. Fine with me. Especially because now I've got a 2/2 to follow up with it. And my opponent did have 2 turns to be able to draw something, but I'm still thinking there's played lands. Ooh hoo hoo. Spicy. Let's see it. Alright, so we're both playing off the top. Did my opponent want a Thoughtseize there? Yeah, we both get kind of sketch hands. I guess I could have seen the case where Painseer. Bile Blight sucks. I would like a removal spell sometime, because that also makes my dude bigger. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here's one of those instances where Nykthos is actually going to be pretty sweet, because and I guess sometimes the double Nykthos draw isn't all too bad because I can just chain the Nykthoses together. Nykthos. I can chain them together, and it ends up being not too bad. Uh-oh. Flyer? Gray Merchant. Whatever. Yep. Non-land. That's good. Um, and one of those instances where I can tap to add all of the black in the world, because why not? Alright, so I am on. So obviously drew 2 spells. I wouldn't mind getting hit by a Thoughtseize. That's fine. My opponent knowing these things, though. Knowledge is just so valuable. Nope, not incoming Thoughtseize. What do we got? Hero's Downfall. That's fine, because it makes my Night Howler bigger. I don't even mind attacks or things like that, because Night Howler just gets massive. Yep. Attacks. Didn't see that one coming, did ya? Nope. Sweet. Here we go. Flying guy. Thoughtseize. Still go for it. Yep. Something clearly happened. Dark Betrayal. And this type of land. So, ugly one that I commented on previously. And my opponents just got straight nothing otherwise. So, ugly land I commented on previously, and hopefully not drawing much other gas. This is unfortunate. Oh, paints here. Okay. And Hellbent. Let's see what we got. Nope, no attacks. Alright. I need non-land permanents. Spiteful returned. 2, 4, 6. If he triple blocks, I can kill both Pain Seers. No, I don't want to do that. 1. Keep this one. 2, 3, 4. Leaving up Bile Blight. Cast that like that. It's a 3/5. Like I said, my opponent has to triple block but then loses 2 Pain Seers. I'm okay with that. I am okay with that transition. Sure, if my opponent doesn't block, my opponent gets in for 6, and there's 2 Pain Seer triggers, which is good for my opponent. That's actually really good for my opponent, but getting a Gray Merchant off the table, in my case, is also good for my opponent. So what happens? But attacking into this and letting me untap with this kind of stuff is pretty nasty too. My opponent has used more removal than I have, so I'm drawing. Okay, sure. That could also happen. That's fine. Yep. Hit me for 6. Mm-hmm. Yep. Ooh. Boom. Gray Merchant. It's pretty sweet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Boom. Ah, removal spell. Come on. Here's downfall. Sure. Yep, that's a thing. Still drain for 3. Alright, let's see the flips. I'd laugh if there were 2 Gray Merchants that got revealed. I've seen worse. Dark Betrayal and Swamp. That's really unfortunate for me, because things is going to start dying. That attack might have been a little riskier than I should have let it happen. Yep, Dark Betrayal. Go for it. I like keeping up the revealed cards too because... Mm-hmm. Sure. Take the 4. Hopefully the card my opponent drew naturally wasn't a removal spell. That would make me really sad. Boom. My opponent's got multiple turns to draw these removal spells. If I hit... So the thing is, I can hit my opponent down to 7. It blocks trades. I take 6. No, I just pass the turn just in case I have to block. Because the only reason being is if my opponent flips, like Gray Merchant. I mean, Gray Merchant, Gray Merchant. I win. Thoughtseize me. Okay. Swamp. Great. That's fine. I don't mind getting Thoughtseize here. And as long as my opponent isn't naturally drawing Gray Merchants, I'm okay. Yep. For the Thoughtseize. Sure. I love keeping these things in hand too because my opponent just starts taking them. Alright, and hopefully this wasn't Gray Merchant. Yep. Land. Is it that land? That land? Ooh! Silly opponent. Played the land you drew naturally. So hand is 2 lands. 2, 4, 6. 2, 4. Ah, starting to wise up a little bit to the flips. Alright. Gray Merchant here would be good. Flying Bestow guy would be good. Land isn't good. So I can attack now because hand is 2 lands. Yeah, I still think I hold back and hope that I can get it off. If I do attack here, it makes more things lethal. I don't think my opponent leaves in Guild, but it makes Guild close to lethal. And then if my opponent decides to attack with these things, yeah. No, I leave it back because my opponent is gonna have to start going big eventually, and then like hopefully this isn't Gray Merchant. If this is Gray Merchant here, oh, that's fine. All right, opponent attacks with Pain Seers, so it's Night Howler, 2 lands, and hopefully not a Gray Merchant. Come on, hopefully not a Gray Merchant. Read the bones. All right, looking for that removal spell. I like living dangerously like this, and obviously my opponent's going a little more deep than I am, because don't see read the bones at all in my 75. All right. Oh, I guess so. If I do attack there, then it puts my opponent off of. Yep. All right, but removal spell here means sure death for me. Uh, 1, 2, and then my opponent can also bestow. Yeah, that sucks. Oh, this is awesome, because then my opponent's gonna have to attack with everything. Because my opponent is dead to an attack here. Ooh, bad place to be. Guild. Sure. That's fine. You still only have 3, unless you're sandbagging a land. Did you play a land already? Oh, oh, you got it. What a jerk. I mean, you do just have to go for it here. Like, that's the only way you win. How many things are in graveyards? How many creatures, though? 1, 2. Yeah, too many creatures. Damn. Got it. It's going to be more than a 2/2. Oh, but if I have any removal spell here, it is sweet. Yep, how big's Gray Merchant? In 8/10. Mm-hmm. Attack for exactly lethal. You got me. Card am I drawing into? Bile Blight. That would have been sweet. Sweet. Alright. Well, I'm gonna be on the draw this time. Or rather, I should be on the play. I guess one of the cases the guild isn't too bad. I still don't like Mogus Marauders. Still like my removal suite. Bile Blight doesn't kill Gray Merchant, but it kills pretty much everything else. I still like where we're at. And probably gonna more than fine going into game 3 with this. Yep, here we go. Game 3. Hopefully we get there. Alright, we're back. I would like to play first. Yeah, this hand's pretty sweet. I've got 3 removal spells, 2-drop into 3-drop. Not even all too weak to Thoughtseize. Sure, maybe takes Painseer, and then has removal for, Night Howlers, but I think I'll hopefully be able to survive that kind of race. Let's see if we can get there. And obviously being on the play in this kind of matchup is advantageous. Then again, my opponent is going super deep with Read the Bones. Alright, let's just not the turn 1 Thoughtseize. Let's not see that here. Alright. Sure, you got me. Take the Painseer. Go for it. Go for it. At least my Night Howler becomes a 1/1 at that point. Yeah, not surprised. Card is really good. Boom. Play the land it knows about. Pass the turn and go. Double Thoughtseize would suck. Nope. Alright. So... Do I Spiteful Returned? Yeah, Spiteful Return, leaving up Dark Betrayal. That's pretty sweet. Uh, that way makes Night Howler bigger, and all right, maybe I can get some beats in. All right. No? You- Hero's Downfall? I love that if that's the case. Use your that kind of removal there. That's fine with me. Now I got 2-2. Bob Blight still gets it, but if my opponent tries to stick something, I'm definitely clearing the way. Come on. Oh, what is this? Whip? Guild. Okay. Yeah, I still don't like Guild as much in the matchup. Boom. Just drawing threats. Drawing haymakers. I don't like it as much just because it's so slow compared to everything else that I have. Like, Bioblight, more often than not, when it's going to be relevant, the most relevant, is hitting Night Howlers early. It's hitting these things. It's hitting agents. Grey Merchant. Sure. I ain't even mad. Mm-hmm. Lose life. Fine with me. Swing for 3. Short. Leaving up Bioblade. Dark Betrayal. Begin combat. Declare attacks. Well, you know about that, so that dies. Yep. And lands? Come on. Hopefully, non-removal spell is what I need. If that's the case, if you have it, kill it now. That's fine. I'd rather not lose the life. Oh, okay. Oh, did you hold priority? How dare you? Spiteful returned. Yep. Gotta sack a dude. I realize that. Makes me sad. Well, pass the turn. I have to draw a land sometime soon. Begin combat. Bob Blight. Yep. Alright. Mm-hmm. Ooh, read the bones. Okay. What are we doing here? What do we got? Top, top? Top. Top. Alright. That happens. Play 3-drop. Hmm. Oh, well, not much you can take. I mean, anything you take kind of blows, but probably takes Grey Merchant. The thinking being, oh, Dark Betrayal. Okay. Boom. Land. Alright, well, you know what I got. Alright. Let's play a thing. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Erebos. Sure. I like that. I'm picking up what you're putting down. Pain's here. Let's fade a removal spell. Come on. Don't have it for once. You got it. You got it, don't you? Ooh. Okay, sure. Come on. Let's not. Aw, did you draw it? No, come on. Oh, of course you did. They always draw it. They always draw the removal spell. Yeah, active Erebos is going to be tough to beat. It's going to involve me drawing a series of sweet, sweet draws. Sweet, sweet draws. Alright, so I'm going to have to draw multiple cards a turn for this to end up working. I'm not going to be able to come back from this kind of thing too quickly. Alright, yep. Thoughtseize. That blows. Mm-hmm. Land. Oh, the rubbins. Well, if I draw a land here and I'm able to double Gray Merchant my opponent out, come on. I mean, my opponent is very, very able to get this active very soon. Uh-huh. Ugh. Ugh. Yep, hit me for 7? 5. 5. This is one of the times when Guild is pretty sweet, but I need to draw a land here. Something fierce. Land. Boom. Well, Spiteful returned. It's not a land, but it's a blocker. And doesn't look good, folks. Your hero, which I'm assuming is me, is probably too far behind to be able to make up for this. Yeah, Dark Betrayal. And that puts me at dead. Alright. Didn't get there. Well, Thoughtseize is pretty awesome. I guess Read the Bones is too. Maybe that's a thing that I can... Maybe I bring in Read the Bones in the mirror. Something I didn't consider, but... Yep, concede the game. Drawing a land there at any time, though, would have been so sweet. Maybe I was weak? I don't think my hand was a mulligan. Like, I had the things that I needed to be able to do with it. My opponent was able to tear through the hand a little bit faster, drew lands when they were necessary. Like I said, Gray Merchant at any time, even though I'm not able to gain life, still does the 2, and then even another 2 to be able to get there. Would have been fine. But, well, cool thing with daily events, they're Swiss, so I'm not completely out. I will see you in and hopefully I just hit the Naya mid-range deck a bunch of times, because I feel like I have a pretty favorable matchup there. Alright, see you round 2.